Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a story you probably think you know inside and out, the Exodus. But we're going to peel back the layers and uncover a hidden spiritual meaning that honestly changes everything. It turns this ancient piece of history into a personal journey that's happening right now.
I mean, we all know the highlights, right? You've got Moses, the Pharaoh, all the plagues, and that incredible moment with the Red Sea parting. But what if that whole epic tale is pointing to something deeper? What if the real Egypt isn't a country in North Africa, but a spiritual state of being that we can all find ourselves in? Now that's the mystery we are getting into today.
All right, so how do we start to unlock this? Well, our first big clue is hiding in plain sight. It's a single prophecy that creates this amazing echo between the Old and New Testaments, connecting the story of an entire nation to the life of one person.
So first we've got this verse from the prophet Hosea. Now, in its original context, he's looking back at history. He's reminding the people of their story. And here, my son is talking about the whole nation of Israel, God's firstborn, who he rescued from slavery in Egypt. It's a historical fact. Pretty straightforward, right? But hold on, because that's not where the story ends. Okay, fast forward hundreds of years. Matthew's writing his gospel, and he pulls out that exact same verse. But wait a minute. This time, he's not talking about the nation of Israel. He's talking about the child Jesus returning from Egypt after his family fled there to escape King Herod. So what is it? Is this history? Or is it prophecy? What's going on here?
Well, the answer is it's both. See, the Bible does this all the time. It works in patterns. The historical event, calling the nation of Israel out of Egypt, that was a real, literal, physical thing that happened, but it was also like a shadow or a blueprint for a much deeper spiritual reality that would be perfectly fulfilled in Jesus. So the big idea here is that biblical history is often a preview of a deeper spiritual truth. And to really get our heads around this spiritual reality, we have to decode the most important symbol in the whole story, Egypt itself. And its original Hebrew name, well, it holds a massive clue. Okay, this is one of those aha moments, for sure. The Hebrew word for Egypt is Mitzrayim, and it's directly connected to the Hebrew root word sarar, which means to bind, to confine, or to be in distress. Think about that. The very name for the place of slavery literally means bondage. It was never just a place on a map, it's a condition. And if you need more proof, the prophet Isaiah just comes right out and says it. He gives us the spiritual definition. He doesn't say Egypt is just a bad nation. He says Egypt is man. It is flesh. Now, flesh here doesn't just mean our bodies. It's a term for our human nature when it's trying to operate on its own, without God. It's the state that trusts in its own power, its horses, instead of relying on the divine spirit. So here's the bottom line. As you read through the Bible, Egypt becomes this powerful symbol. It's a state of the first Adam, our default human condition. It's a state of being trapped, relying on our own limited strength, a place of spiritual confusion, and ultimately, it's a system of rebellion against God. This idea leads us right into a foundational concept that makes this whole spiritual journey make sense, the idea of the two Adams. The Bible basically presents us with two different prototypes for what it means to be human. It's a tale of two humanities. On one side, you have the first Adam. He's from the earth, and his state is flesh. That's our spiritual Egypt, a condition of bondage that leads to death. But then, on the other side, you have the second Adam, who is Christ. He's from heaven, a life-giving spirit, and he offers total freedom and victory over death. The entire spiritual life is about moving from one column to the other. And here it is. This is the most powerful, mind-bending part of the entire story. How does God get us out of our personal Egypt? He sends his son into it. Jesus literally took on our human condition, our flesh, to lead us out from the inside. He didn't stand on the outside and shout instructions. He entered our state of bondage to shatter its power and guide us into freedom. Redemption doesn't come from escaping our humanity, but by God transforming it from within. So if we're being led out of our flesh, out of Egypt, where exactly are we going? See, the goal isn't just to escape. The Exodus is a journey to somewhere incredible. It's a process of transformation that leads to, well, oneness. The journey is often described as a path of sonship. It all starts when the Word of God gets planted inside our human nature, just like a seed. Then, as that new divine life starts to grow and mature inside us, our old self, that Egyptian way of living, starts to fade away. The whole point is to grow up from being a child into a mature son,
reaching our full potential.
And what's the final destination of this incredible journey? Okay, this might be one of the most stunning verses in the entire Bible. Jesus himself, quoting the Psalms, points to the ultimate goal of the Exodus, that the people who receive the word of God are brought into such an intimate union with him that they actually get to participate in the divine nature. That's the real promised land. It's not just about being free from something, but becoming one with someone. So, let's bring this all home. Why should we care about this ancient story of slavery and freedom thousands of years later? Because the journey isn't over. In fact, for many of us, it's really just getting started. So here is the great takeaway from all of this. The Exodus is not just some historical event that we remember once a year. It's a living, breathing, spiritual reality that we're invited into every single day. It's an ongoing invitation to leave the bondage of our old way of being, our fears, our limitations, our need to do everything in our own strength, and to journey into a whole new reality. And that leaves us with one final, very personal question to think about. This ancient pattern is a present-day invitation. So take a second and really think about it. From what personal Egypt, what state of bondage, distress, or limitation in your own life are you being called to journey out of today?